Alrighty, everybody. So, like I said, in today's webinar, we're going to be going over all of the trades that we ended up taking today live in Team Bull. We caught puts in the morning, calls later in the day, and then we caught QQQ calls, which was actually the exact bottom of the day on QQQ, literally right down here. So we're going to review how I found all of these levels, what I was looking for to confirm the trading. You guys can ask questions throughout the webinar. And I, again, really wish I could see myself. This is really going to bother me. The only person I see is Don. Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Now I can see myself. Perfect. 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 So real quick, just because this is going to be going on my second YouTube channel, I need you guys to confirm that we ended up printing today in Team Bull. If you could just type a yes in the chat or the bang, just letting everybody know that we caught 3 amazing trades live in Team Bull. Let them know on YouTube. There we go. We printed, baby. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty, so like I said, let's start with the first trade. Literally, all of us were on it. Nate, I think Nate hopped in it, I believe. Me and Grizzly, we're all in this trade. So, I mean, going into the market open, and still what I'm looking for tomorrow is I really want this daily squeeze to fire up. That is the number one thing that I'm going to be watching going into tomorrow. But going into the market open, this 415, just because intervals of 5 are major areas of psychological support and resistance, we came up to this 414.9, which was very close to 415 yesterday. We weren't able to break above it. We got very close in the pre-market, sold off again. Therefore, I was pretty much only bullish if we could clear 415 on SPY today. We ended up getting the PPI news at 8:30. Market ended up selling off. So because we were below everything, I was ideally looking for puts to get us down into my bounce areas, which we'll discuss how I found the bounces. But 410.2 to 410 were actually my main bounces on SPY. Again, psychological areas, intervals of 5 are very strong support and resistance. So 410, 415, 420, etc. But if we zoom out, we're going to talk about this bounce real quick, 410.2. and how we found it. If we zoom out to a 1 hour time frame, you can just see multiple times support over here, resistance over here, support, 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 literally so many times at this 410.2. So that was my bounce area. And I knew, well, yeah, I would say if the market was going to drop, I knew we should at least try to bounce right here. So because we ended up selling off based off of PPI, we had this big sell off right in the morning, right? This is a pretty strong, aggressive move down. 412.06 all the way down to a low of 410.6. So like $1.40 drop. Now from there, how we ended up finding the put entries, and let me pull the chat over real quick, just in case you guys got any questions. So as you can see, we're below moving averages, below VWAP. We ended up dropping in the morning, and then we set this low point right here. So what I ended up doing was taking my Fibonacci retracement, pivot high, pivot low. Now, as always, I'm watching that 50% retracement, watching that 61.8% retracement, and I always break it down to a 1 minute time frame. Now, as you can see right here, we ended up pushing up into the level. We rejected it here, and we started coming down. Now, before I entered this trade, what I was personally waiting for, like I said earlier in the morning, was I was putting more weighting on the QQQ analysis. If we look at QQQ and actually take that pivot high to pivot low, when the market turned was when QQQ hit the 61.8% retracement and then started pulling back. So I didn't enter exactly when Grizzly did. Grizzly got a earlier entry than I did. I think he entered on this candle right here. But as this thing started coming up and QQQ hit the reject, SPY rejected this area again, that's when I ended up getting short. And we literally rode this thing all the way down into that final price target of 410.2, again, which was the bounce area. So that was the very first trade. Absolutely beautiful trade. Yeah, so hopefully you guys caught that. Very well-defined stop loss. I would have stopped out probably above VWAP if we started to show strength above there. So around like 30, 35 cent stop loss. Now, as far as the next trade, so this is where Bookmap really came into play. Again, if you guys were in voice, you heard me constantly saying how important this 4120 is. So on Bookmap, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. Pretty much what it is, it's a combination of your time in sales and your level 2. It's just a very visual way of seeing where buyers and sellers are. So as we can see with this, pull this over here so you guys can see both of these. As you guys can see, price started coming down towards that 4120. And there were so many buyers at this area, right? So 4120 was a key area. Price could not break below 4120. We were not going to go lower. Plus, you can combine that with that 410.2 and 410 support area that we had on SPY that has been very strong. But as we can see, price constantly held this 410 to 410.2. Plus, we had the confluence of that 4120 or 4120 on Bookmap, which added to this trade a lot of confirmation, I would say. So my stop loss with this trade was below 410. We were able to catch a nice little pop to the upside. Literally, my price target, I really wanted to hit 411. It got 5 cents short, and then it started pulling back. So I was able to get 2 trims off. And then I sold literally as soon as we started breaking below that 410.2. Gave you guys the brand and sell indicator on this one. Now, I do want to talk about a trade that I ended up missing, because right after I ended up selling, if we break it down to a 1 minute time frame, again, this is why I love to use sniper entries on the 1 minute, because you can always skew the risk to reward significantly in your favor. So as this started coming back down to, hold on, let me make sure, let me timestamp both of these. What is that, 1022? Yeah, so as you see, we got a nice little push up in price. It was a profitable position, just wasn't able to hit that price target that I really wanted, and that I wanted to go all the way up here, but still a green trade. So as it came down, the trade that I ended up missing today was actually this candle right here. So as we see on the 1 minute time frame, price came down on Bookmap right back down towards that 4120 where there was a lot of buyers. And as we see on this 1 minute candle, look at the volume. Price hit that 410, and look at the lower wick plus the volume. This lets us know that there was a lot of buyers in the market, and this actually confirmed an entry. And then from there, as you can see, this thing exploded right up into 411 and that VWAP, and then pulled back, set a higher low, and then exploded again. So that was actually a trade that I ended up missing today. It's whatever, it happens. But we caught a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade on QQQ. And this thing literally went like 70%, like around 70, 80% on this trade. So the way that I found this QQQ level right here, 324.13, it was in the pre-market watch list with that 324. We can just go ahead and delete everything. If we zoom out to the daily time frame on QQQ, the trend is clearly up. As we see, we have this high point right here, previous high point right here, and then high point right here. So what are we doing? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Plus the squeeze is firing up. So from here, as we see, this was our recent high before we broke above it yesterday, and we held above it. More than likely, we come back and we retest our previous highs. So what we can do, we can mark this previous high, show that on the right. Boom. And then plus on top of that, I had a 50% retracement right at the same area. Now, the way that I found that level, I believe was just, I think it was this one. Yes. So if we break it down to a 1 hour time frame, I did this in the pre-market watch list on the YouTube channel. All I did was take yesterday's low on QQQ at 321.6 all the way up to pre-market high at 326.66. Now, because we had the previous high, which should act as support, plus the 50% retracement, which should act as support, it made this a higher probability bounce area. So as soon as price came down on the 1 minute time frame, you guys heard me say, I'm getting in long right here. I like the reaction to this level, and my stop loss is going to be below 324 to 323.9. Again, using a 1 minute time frame, sniping the entries, we always significantly skew the risk reward in our favor. And as you can see, I mean, this thing literally, as it started to push up, came back down, and then right after that, absolutely beautiful nuke to the upside. And we caught this thing all the way up into the opening print. Whoops. Boom, boom. Obviously taking profits on the way. But yeah, literally right up into opening print. This was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade. But yeah, I mean, that's really all trading comes down to, is using sniper entries, in my honest opinion, getting really good entries, sniper entries, and then sizing correctly when it comes to your risk to reward. The reason why I use the 1 minute is because you can see very clearly how price is reacting to a certain level. As soon as we approach it, if it is a key area, you're going to see a large reaction. So this reaction right here, elevated volume, as you like, literally, if you guys had QQQ pulled up, as soon as we touch that level, there was a very big spike in volume. That confirms to me that there are buyers that were sitting here waiting. And again, we could lose this trade 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. But as soon as we can catch that winning trade and milk the profits, That's how we stay profitable. But you can see we've been squeezing over here. And what has price done ever since? It's just been consolidating, right? But when we get a daily squeeze to fire or a weekly squeeze, doesn't really matter what time frame squeeze. But when you get a squeeze to fire, that's when you see really large moves in the market. So if this daily squeeze can fire up, truly fire up and not hit supply and reject, I think we'll take out these highs right here, honestly, if the daily squeeze fires.